When I purchased shares in Cable Bahamas was offering a service that I appreciated. And I thought, seeing that it was something new on the block, it was interested enough for me to be a part of it. They have a chance to be the number one, particularly in mobile field. You have already earned the right to be the next provider. You've earned that from Joe Public, from the Bahamian people.
A decision on the Baha Mar court matter expected on Wednesday. This as government claims the resort owes government $58 million. The leader of the opposition says he respects government's decision to file a winding up petition. Plus, the passport office says a lack of manpower and resources is causing delays. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and NV12 starts right now. Helping news tonight, all parties have now made their submissions before Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder as to whether Baha Mar's application to have its bankruptcy filing should be recognized in the Bahamas. It was a long day in court with attorneys for CCA Bahamas, China Exim Bank, Cable Bahamas Limited, and government asking the judge to dismiss that application as early as today. It's the latest in the ongoing saga surrounding the multi-billion-dollar resort. Kyle Joaquin reports.
Creditors will be treated fairly under Chapter 11 proceedings in Delaware. That's according to Baha Mar's Roy Sweeting as he sought to convince Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder to recognize the resort's Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing in the U.S. The government is seeking the appointment of a provisional liquidator to manage Baha Mar's affairs in hopes of finishing the stalled project, which is said to be 97% complete. However, China Exim Bank's attorney Brian Sims in his submission called Baha Mar's application unprecedented and misconceived. According to Sims, Baha Mar started on the wrong foot with legal proceedings. The right way, he said, would have been to decide where was the right place for proceedings to take place. He said what Baha Mar is asking the court to do is apply U.S. law and not Bahamian law. Chapter 11, he added, does not exist in the Bahamas, and the closest thing is a winding up. Sims then asked the justice to dismiss the application today and provide reasons later, and if not Monday, as soon as possible. He said the application has no basis in law and goes against recent rulings by the Privy Council. The China Exim Bank attorney went a bit further and told the justice that while the Supreme Court proceedings in the Bahamas paused for negotiations, the Chapter 11 process did not, and the fault, he said, wasn't with the court, but the party who agreed to adjourn, Baha Mar. Adopting his statements was State Minister for Legal Affairs Damian Gomez, who also called for the application to be dismissed as soon as possible. He said it seems Baha Mar crafted using Chapter 11 as an approach that was suitable to them. The government says Baha Mar owes it $58 million, and Gomez says the $2.45 billion Baha Mar owes China Exim is a Bahamian debt. Gomez continued that the judge's decision would affect BEC, Water and Sewage, the Gaming Board, as well as the Ministry of Finance. Also joining in the talks was the attorney for Cable Bahamas Limited, Lester Mortimer, who called for the application to be dismissed as soon as possible. He said under the bankruptcy terms in the U.S., Cable Bahamas is required to provide services which are billed at $90,000 per month. However, the U.S. only made provisions to pay out $75,000. He said if the company goes into liquidation, Cable Bahamas would still have to provide those services, but it will be required that they be paid. But there was one more voice calling for the application to be dismissed immediately. CCA Bahamas. Sean Marie appeared for the company, which has been blamed more than once by Baha Mar for its delayed opening. During his brief submissions, Marie charged that justice delayed, in this instance, really is justice denied, especially for Bahamians. He called Baha Mar's decision to file for bankruptcy in Delaware a calculated, unjustified act of foreign shopping on the part of the applicant. In response to all the other parties, Baha Mar's attorney told the justice that if he grants the application, it would show a level of control, and if dismissed, then the chips will fall where they may. Justice Winder will announce his decision next Wednesday at 10 a.m. The date for the winding up hearing is set for July 31st. Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson had harsh words for Baha Mar CEO Sarkis Mirlian yesterday, stating his calculated and outrageous comments are sullying the country's reputation. Maynard Gibson appeared as a guest on the Guardian radio talk show Q&A. Although acknowledging Mirlian is a sophisticated business person, she hit out at the CEO for his comments on government's decision to file a winding up application.
Mr. Mirlian is a sophisticated business person. For him to suggest that the bringing of an application for winding up of Baha Mar or the appointment of a provisional liquidator was tantamount to nationalization is patently false. Demonstrably so. It violates our Constitution. He knows it is untrue. And he, by saying such a thing, an outrageous untruth, is causing the rating agencies to be concerned about our country.
Since filing for bankruptcy, Mirlian has been critical of the Prime Minister and the Christie administration. Last week, Baha Mar had criticized government's move to file a winding up petition as an attempted nationalization of a private investor's assets. Blasting Mirlian's remarks as calculated to destroy the nation's reputation, Maynard Gibson noted government's fiscal projections in the 2015-2016 budget did not include Baha Mar and warned if Baha Mar's bankruptcy filing results in a downgrade, it could affect future capital projects.
He also has said things that have been calculated to destroy the reputation of our country. The government's fiscal projections in the budget did not include Baha Mar. The rating agencies, the IMF, the World Bank were all giving the government kudos for its competence in growing and strengthening and holding stable our economy. If that Chapter 11 and his further outrageous statements result in a downgrade, it will mean that it is more expensive to borrow money, and it could mean that some of those capital projects for the benefit of the Bahamian people will be impacted.
Well, government filed that winding up petition against Baha Mar on the grounds that it is owed more than $58 million by the developer. According to the court document filed by the Attorney General's office on Thursday, Baha Mar owes the Bahamas Electricity Corporation more than $26 million. Baha Mar also owes the Gaming Board more than $11 million in taxes, $9.4 million for Crystal Palace Casino winnings, and $1.8 million in basic taxes. It owes the Water and Sewage Corporation more than $3 million and owes the public treasury in the amount of $3.3 million for real property tax arrears as of July 3rd. Further, Baha Mar owes business license fees in the amount of more than $303,000, about $289,000 for the Wyndham and $13,000 for the Cable Beach Golf Course. The petition further states Baha Mar owes the Immigration Department approximately $166,000 for non-payment of work permit fees as of July 3rd. The document adds Baha Mar is indebted to the Gaming Board in more than $10 million, and it owes the Ministry of Tourism $3.11 million, $2.6 in guest taxes, and more than $500,000 in airlift subsidy. The petition also says Baha Mar owes the National Insurance Board more than $697 as of June 26. Well, opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis said while he respects government's decision to file a winding up petition, there's still a lot of unanswered questions concerning the move that he feels Prime Minister Perry Christie needs to answer. Voicing concern about the more than 2,000 employees at the resort in his national address on Baha Mar last night, Minnis said it's critical Christie acts prudently and decisively in an effort to ensure that thousands of unemployed young people on New Providence will not have their ranks swelled.
While we respect the decision taken by the government, we urge the Prime Minister to explain the full ramification of the liquidation process to the Bahamian people.
Minnis said he wishes to assure Baha Mar employees the F&M understands and empathizes with their plight, noting the difficult position the employees find themselves in is through no fault of their own. He said thousands of Bahamians who were depending on the opening of Baha Mar to earn a decent living, send their children to school, and improve their quality of life will lose the opportunity to do so. Minnis urged Christie to mobilize government resources to ensure the children of Baha Mar employees are not negatively impacted.
We, the Opposition Free National Movement, urge the Prime Minister to mobilize the resources of our government to ensure that the children of employees of Baha Mar are not negatively impacted in their ability to enroll in and attend school. The Ministry of Education, the Department of Social Services, and all available government resources ought to be involved in protecting the future of our children.
The opposition leader dubbed the Baha Mar saga a teachable moment, explaining the time has come for the nation to decrease its dependency on anchor projects. He said he and his party deeply regret that Baha Mar has come to such an impasse. However, they remain hopeful and join with every well-meaning Bahamian in praying that the resort's opening is just around the corner. Minnis noted that any further delay could prove disastrous.
Any further delay would inflict untold hardship on our people and produce disastrous results for our fragile economy. My fellow Bahamians, this is indeed a teachable moment. The compelling and urgent lesson is that the time has come for us to decrease our dependence on mega anchor projects to sustain and grow our economy. It is time for us to look within ourselves for solutions to jumpstart our economy and empower our citizens.
Minnis said last night while the FNM respects and recognizes the rights of the key parties to seek legal redress, it cautions that court proceedings ought to be a last resort, as such measures are bound to be acrimonious, time-consuming, and result in lengthy delays to the completion of the resort and to the detriment of workers, contractors, subcontractors, and the economy. He said the FNM is urging all the parties to continue working together and do their utmost to negotiate an out-of-court settlement to their disputes. Such an ending, Minnis said, would recognize and respect the rights and legitimate interests of the key parties, including government and the Bahamian people. Minnis said it would also allow the developer to speedily take control of the process and to work with the other key stakeholders to prepare a strategic and workable roadmap for the completion and opening of the resort in the shortest possible time. He said the fate of the nation's international reputation hangs in the balance.
Ensuring the completion and successful opening and operation of Baha Mar are matters of utmost national importance. The fate of this Bahamian project, its Bahamian employees, and the international reputation of the Bahamas are in jeopardy. We, the Opposition Free National Movement, wish for the best possible outcome for our country and our workers. We encourage the government to ensure the protection of the Bahamas' international reputation as they continue to work towards a solution to this dilemma.